Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. We're about to get started. Ready. Love that you're still here. You guys are the serious ones. Love it. Well, if you guys could grab a seat, we'll get started here in about 10 seconds. So, what did you guys do last night? Baseball? What else? I slept. That's where I was. I was sleeping. I was sleeping at the baseball game. I went to the baseball game for like an hour and fell asleep in my chair, and I was like, I should go home. So I went there. So awesome. Well, so usually if you guys have been to our conferences before, this day is a lot of masterminding day. So for about the next 30 to 45 minutes, I'm literally just going to be an open book, let you ask me anything, because a lot of times we learn a lot from what other people ask. So usually what people ask me, what should I hire VAs for? How would I do this with the VA? Justin, how do I get VAs? Hey, Justin, what programs do you offer to get VAs? And literally nothing's off the table. So is that fair for the next 45 minutes? Cool. I'm going to ask if we can get Jake, can we get an extra mic up on stage that I can pass around? Just a handheld. So I'm just going to let you guys rock and roll. So after the first 30, 45 minutes, we're going to have about 3 hours of pretty hardcore speakers coming up. A lot of this is going to be on social media today. So obviously, that's one of my favorite things to do. A lot of things on social. Do you mind just... Oh, Matt, do you mind just putting that on the table for me? Just hold it. Thanks. So we're going to have about 3 hours of that. And then for anybody that's in our Accelerator Private Mastermind, from 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock tonight, we're having a private mastermind in here. So we'll have a break between like 12 and 2. And then we'll come back in here for those that are in Accelerator. It is only for Accelerator, where it's even going to be a more intimate room. But with that being said, I'm going to let you guys start firing away the questions. We should be able to hear everybody since it's a fairly small room today. So feel free to start firing. Yeah, Jackie. A boring technical question. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, great question. So what she asked is the VAs fall under what we call a W-8BEN. So it's a tax treaty between the United States and the Philippines. Now, my lawyer is going to tell me real fast to say, I'm not a tax advisor, but I will tell you what my tax advisors say. So the VAs fall under something called a W-8BEN. So if you pay them $640 a month, they get all $640 a month. So you don't have to pay payroll taxes. You don't have to withhold taxes. You don't have to do any of that. If anybody ever tells you you have to withhold taxes or do different things, false. False. They just don't understand enough. Have them call me. What she asked, though, is just like you guys ever have 1099s here? You hear you can't make a 1099 come at 8 a.m., can't make them do certain things. However, you can have 1099 contractor agreements. Usually what we can't mandate is we can't create what we want, send it to them, and force mandate they sign it. What they can do, and that's how we do it, is we create it from the VA side because they can create whatever agreement they want on their side and send it to us. And that's where we come in. So when we're creating a contract agreement, most people use our contracts, which is good, because we're the ones creating it, and having the VAs almost give it to you, if that makes sense. So it's almost like the VA coming to me going, I'm willing to work these hours, and here is my commitment to you, rather than, hey, you have to do this. Now, would you guys all agree sometimes 1099s live in a gray area in real estate? If you have team members, like technically you're not allowed to tell them anything mandated. You're not supposed to say, you got to be here at 8, you got to be here at 5. However, a lot like Dustin talked about, Ryan talked about, we do a lot of things with our cultures and core values. It's like, hey, our culture is we get here early. If you're not a part of our culture, we may have to let you go. Now, they'll start to figure out early means 8 a.m. every single day, right? So it's a little bit of a gray area. You know, the more you can stay away from you have to's, mandated, things like that. However, I tell my team, to be able to get these things done, you got to be here roughly at this time. Does that make sense? The other thing you can do in your contracts is you can say, hey, every day, in order for you to work for me, I have to have a meeting with you at 8 a.m., and we have to have a meeting at 5 p.m. We have check-in, check-outs. That's what we do it for, because if they're there at both times, they probably work the entire day. So, your question? Yeah. Yes. Yep. For any of the, I think we had like 35, 40 people join yesterday. You guys are all welcome to come today, too, from 2 to 6. Yep, absolutely. Welcome. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, so what she's asking is can you go part-time VAs versus full-time VAs? Absolutely. So if you go part-time VAs, one of the main issues you're always going to have is they're going to be working for multiple people. So, as long as you're okay with that. The problem when you have a part-time VA, let's say you get a part-time VA from us and they rock it with you and you start to love them, but what if the other person starts to love them more and offers them full-time? I can't stop them from leaving your job, right? And so that's the only problem is you can build all these systems, foundations, things like that, and then all of a sudden the VA goes. Now, what I recommend, and it's something we teach in our program, is if you're not ready for a full-time virtual assistant, you can still come into our program, or this is even, you can do it on your own too, right? Fiverr, Upwork, bring on a full-time VA at $640 a month, and then let your friends use that VA. That's a better way because you maintain control of their entire 40 hours, but then you can sub it out. Like we've got people in our program right now that have badass video editors for 40 hours a week, but they only use 10 a week of that VA, and then they'll go around their market and they'll do something called zero costing. Right? We have one person in our program right now, they charge other people $10 an hour for their VA. They pay their VA $4. So they actually now get VAs for free. So I would recommend getting the full-time VA, $640 a month, take 20 hours of it, let a friend have it, and go, hey, I got this awesome VA, here's what he or she has done for me, and then maybe charge them $6 an hour to use your VA for a few extra hours while you're only paying them $3. At the end of the month, you actually have a free VA now. So a lot of people don't know this. I actually will lend out my VAs. So like for example, if Ryan Stuman were to call me and say, hey, I need a VA to do graphics for my next event for the next 3 days, I'll charge him $15 an hour for my $3 an hour VA, and he'll happily pay it. So it's still cheaper than 30 or 40. So most of my staff, I actually don't pay. All 110 team members on my team, that's not really a payroll cost for me. We have found ways to let other people borrow our VAs during certain situations to cover it, right? Does that make sense? Just change your thinking a little bit, right? Like, so if you're not ready for a full-time VA, or even a lot of people have a full-time VA and you can afford it, but why not give them away for 10 hours a week if you don't need them full-time? Yeah. Great question. How old are you? Love it, love it. Biggest learning curve, I don't believe I had a learning curve because I figured out one thing, and it was the Dream 25. Someone else asked me this. I think it was, I can't remember who it was, but the Dream, okay. You guys haven't connected yet. You should connect. You guys are both really young, and you're here, which I love. Thank you for being here. The Dream 25 is figuring out who are the 25 people that I want to get in line with, or who are the key players in the industry. A little cool story about this. John Cheplack. I went to, I think it was 9 events, and I looked at my bank account the other day because I had to put it in a presentation. I think I spent over $110,000 going to his 9 events. Never once took a picture with him. Never once spoke to him. Never once even came close to him. Just sat in the back of the room. I was at an event of his probably about 2 months ago. He came up to me and he literally just said, I know who you are. A month later, he put me on a stage, which he never does. If you guys know Cheplack, it's impossible to get on a stage. He put me on a stage for 30 minutes. We made over $390,000 in those 30 minutes. Now, that's pretty good return on investment for the 110. Now, I'm not saying go spend money good, but get around those people, right? If he's got, like, Cheplack's got an event in a few weeks for $249 in Vegas, my mindset was, how can I get there? I will drive a car, I'll do whatever, I'll get there, right? I'm going to get a picture with him, I'm going to keep it. He's got another event here, going to go to it, going to picture, going to keep it, right? You start to hang around these people a lot. That was because then what they'll do is they'll start to recognize you and you'll start to get to learn them. Does that make sense? You'll get to learn their organization. Like, a lot of people ask me how I got so close to Ryan Stuman so fast. I actually figured out that I started hanging out with his admin. I hung out with his videographer. I hung out with all of his team first. And then guess what happened in the office? Justin bought me coffee. Justin took me to lunch. Justin sent me to a football game. All $50, $20, $30. Next thing you know, Ryan's inviting me across the world with him. Does that make sense? So just figure out who your top 25 are, and your learning curve will be demolished. Yeah, absolutely. That goes for everybody. Top 25 is huge. Yeah. Yeah, so if you're less than 6 months in the business and you're starting off with a virtual assistant, the very first thing I would be doing is looking at a virtual assistant that's actually going to get you more business rather than take admin tasks off your plate. Right? Because most of us, if we're newer to the business, we need more business, right, to become consistent. VAs are great for 2 things, getting more business or taking leverage in, admin work, design work, social media. So for me, the very first thing I'd be doing is the client care manager, which is why I did that presentation up here, is making sure, hey, I have 100 people in my database. How are they all getting 84 touches a year? That would be the only thing I do, because if the right touches go on the right people, you get one deal, it's an extra $10,000, right? 5,000, 15, whatever your market is, right? Somebody yesterday was like, my average price was 1.2, and I'm like, damn. Like, actually, the funny thing is, the higher your price point, the less excuses you have to have a VA. Because the VA rate doesn't change, right? So $640 a month doesn't matter if you're in California or if you're in Nashville or if you're here, right? So like every California agent in the world really doesn't have an excuse not to have a VA because of how spread it is, right? They do one deal. I mean, yes, I know their cost of living is higher. They have to live in $1 million homes, but still, in the business expense side of things, $30,000 check versus a $640 a month VA, you should have a ton of them, right? And that's what Kenny's figured out. Lyle's figured out. So social media, and then the next one is social media. How do we get everything on social media, right? How do we get 5,000 friends on our Facebook account? Most of you guys, if you've never heard my story, when I was on the road teaching, the only thing I taught people for 300 days a year was how to get to 5,000 people on Facebook. The average agent in this room only has 1,127 friends on Facebook. How do I know? I looked up all the attendees. Or I didn't, my DAs did, to be honest. I wasn't like scrolling, oh, he's got 20, he's got 5,000, yeah, no. 1,127. Now, it's a free platform, so if I post a post to 5,000 people, how much longer does it take me to make that post than it does for you for 1,000? Same amount of time, but I get 5 times the effect. Little tip and trick here, if you've never used the tool called friendfilter.io, the best tool in the world. Just don't tell people because they keep raising the price. Retail people. It's like $14 right now. Friend Filter, F-R-I-E-N-D, filter.io. What this thing will do is when you'll open it up, you'll connect your Facebook account, and you'll click play. What it's going to do is it's going to scan your Facebook. It will literally open up your Facebook, and it's going to look like the Matrix. It's going to like just scan your Facebook. And what it's going to tell you is it's going to rank your 5,000 friends from number 1 to number 5,000, and it's going to give you every analytic. It's going to say, John and Sally have liked your post 500 times. Sally has liked your post 1,200 times. So when I pull this up, I can actually see a complete log of my top 5,000 friends in order. Then at the bottom, what it will do is it will say, these 1,000 people are caught in the Facebook algorithm. They will not be able to see your stuff, ever. Then what it can do is it can auto-delete all of them for you instantly. You don't have to go through and unfriend them. So what you'll see is a lot of us that do a lot of speaking gigs, and you'll see this happen tomorrow, so be prepared. I'm going to drop about 300 friends instantly on Facebook so I can go add all 300 of you. Why do you think I would do that? Because you're more engaged. You care. You're more likely to buy something from me than someone from 4 years ago that's stuck in the algorithm, right? So friendfilter.io, and the reason I say that is because then the VAs can go in and start helping you build that social media out too. So friendfilter.io, best tool ever. There's a lot of trainings on it. It's really cheap. Yeah. Great question. So it was only for Facebook Friends. It was only for Facebook Friends forever. 2 weeks ago, they just launched a beta called Facebook Groups Filter.io, so they can scan all of your Facebook groups. So it's a good tool. It's a really good tool. Yeah. No, you're only allowed one. I'm sorry. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Absolutely. Is Sarah Parks here? Still? All right. So there's 2 people in the room. That's a really complicated answer, but find me, and I will connect you with 2 people. So what she asked is transaction coordination rules with VAs. The VAs are allowed to do anything that a non-licensed person can do in your state. So that's what I would look up. What can a non-licensed person do in my state? The VA is allowed to do that. Now, if you're with an old school broker, guess what they may say? Well, the VA is from the Philippines. They can't do that. That's false. They're allowed to do the exact same thing an unlicensed assistant does. If you have to be licensed in the state to do it, the VA would have to be licensed too. Right? So the only difference is some states VAs can do 80% of the work and 20% has to be done by the agent. Some states might be 50-50. So you just have to figure out exactly which piece. So, yeah, great question. What else? Oh, you're good. Great question. So do we train our VAs? No. No. We do not train the VAs on anything. Okay? Here's why. It's a philosophy of ours. The industry has been oversold a lot of things. The biggest companies in the world say that they put your VAs through training. You know what training is? Just like your real estate license training. Do you guys use any of that? No. I could sit my VAs on and put them through a 4-week training and say this is real estate. However, what we do is we're a recruitment organization. You tell me you need a video editor, I'm going to find you a video editor that already knows how to video edit. You tell me you need a TC, I'm going to find you a VA that's already been a TC. It's already going to come with that skill set. Because here's what I tell people, is if I oversell you that we train them on everything, here's the thing, the way you transaction coordinates can be the way it's not the same way. So I'm more of a recruiter, and that's why we're a custom solution rather than, hey, we got all these generalized VAs. Because here's the thing, most companies, they have generalized VAs. They have generalized VAs because when they sell you a product at $1,500 to $2,000 a month for one VA, most people only want how many? One. So they have to sell you a VA that knows a little bit of everything, and that's why they get trained. It's like, here's some basics on TC, some basics on admin, some basics on client care departments. With us, since the VA might only cost you $640 a month, I go, well, why don't we just get you a video editor VA for $640? Why don't I get you a TC for $640? And why don't I get you a client care manager for $640? You're still better off than the other companies. You got 3 people, 3 amount of times, and they're all very niche down and specialized. Like we take this so extreme now. I have one virtual assistant on my team. Her only job is to go through my Facebook all day and like every single thing and comment on everything. That's her only job. I pay her $600 a month just to do that. Because I know that at least makes me 1 sale a year. So training kind of, here's the thing. I'd love to say they come trained, but they come trained from the recruitment side of things from their past. Right? Now, if your VA has a gap, we have 7 coaches, at least in our organization, that are full-time. The 3 more that are coming on to make it 10. Your VAs can attend all those trainings as well. Right? So if you can't attend a training with Deanna Dopsloff or executive admin, your VA can have access to the past 20 videos she did and the 100 she's going to do in the future. So they can go and start getting ideas. Right? Like Deanna gets more referrals than anybody I know, and you're like, I don't want to go learn a new referral system. Send the VA to that call, and that's how they get trained. Right? We have that library. We also have an unlimited ask policy. What I do during the week, most people ask what I do in my free time. You ask me a random question like, how does a VA do the following? I'll literally make you a video for an hour on exactly how to do it. It's not my team, it's me. I'm literally making the videos because the more questions you ask, smart, dumb, low level, high level, the bigger library I build, the thousands of videos, the less work I have to do in the future. So I welcome all questions and all video requests. So yeah. Yes. Does anybody still need to talk to us about getting VAs? Just you? Cool. At 9:30, for anybody that wasn't in the room, because I know some of you guys were at the bar yesterday when I talked about how to get VAs. I know because my team said there was 22 at the bar, so we count. We're smart. We've done this before. At 9:30, 9:45, I have room for 10 people to come talk to me personally. If you still need to get VAs or you haven't met my sales team yet, forgot or you don't even know what we're talking about, I have time for 10 people. She's like, I don't think I know, but I know. Like, I don't know. Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 Me. Yeah. That's common. Yeah, that's common. So I have 4 of the. Yeah. So love that question. He asked personal. So personal side, Dustin Runyon, my coach, he obviously said a quote that I really love, and I will probably get tattooed on myself at some time. Is there's no such thing as personal problems, or there's no such thing as business problems. Only personal problems that affect the business. Right? And so with that being said, a lot of times our biggest producers actually don't need VAs to do their admin work. They need VAs for their personal life. Right? So I break mine down into 4 sectors. 4 is extreme, but it's 4 sectors because a lot of times when we get to a certain level, usually about $300,000 to $400,000 a year in income, we need 1 full-time personal assistant. Most coaches will say $350,000 to $500,000. You have to have a personal assistant full-time that is not in the business. It's the person that can schedule things, can do your vacations, can do all your planning, can do all of that, right? Like my ex-girlfriend loved all her gifts she got because my VAs always remembered anniversaries, birthdays, things like that. I was always the best. I was like, yes, I was. My VAs, right? What's that? She started to like the gifts too much. That's the problem. Yeah, she loved the gifts too much. But to answer your question, so four different areas. First, I have my home life. So we talked about some of the crazy things, my laundry basket, different things like that. Obviously, I do have in-person assistants, Kendra, who you guys may have met. She's my house manager. So my VAs coordinate all that, right? Because it allows me to bring the cost way down. When the VAs order me a salad or order my groceries, it's not the same as like having to hire a full-time in person. So everything. So we have a document on it where we literally go through health, all of those things. Like right now, we have a VA ordering us lunch for today. So there's just all of those different pieces. Appointments, I give my VA, so I can send you the checklist too. I have a checklist where we fill it out and the VAs get everything. So they get my dentist appointments, my ortho appointments, my physicals, they have my gym schedule, they have everything. The VAs even track, we're as extreme of I just had to make flight changes. I sent a voice memo, hey, take these flight changes for Cabo and do this, and that. They're already on it working right now. So that way I don't have to worry about those things. Yeah. Nicole, we'll get you next. Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 So basically what to have them do. Here's the thing, if we don't know what to have them do, a lot of us would be like he just said, order a salad, I think, right? A lot of us wouldn't even think of that. You know how nice it is that when I'm in the office, my VAs literally know, they track my phone, they find my iPhone on me. They'll literally watch me move to the office, and they'll order Subway to where I literally can walk in and it's sitting there. So just grab it off the desk. Your VAs can do that, right? They have access to Apple. They have access to a lot of times people are like, how do your VAs text for you? I just log them into my Apple account in the Philippines. They can text from my iPhone. So, literally, they can text everything. Now, that has to be a super trusted VA, right? because when Nick Good sends me something really inappropriate but really funny, I got to have this VA under an NDA, right? Hey, can't let that get into the public or I might be canceled, right? I'll be the next Crystalia. Yeah. Yeah. Some of you know. I'm just joking, by the way, if you know. Just joking. Yeah. Oh, actually, let's go. Tasha, real fast. No. Well, yes, you have to pre-authorize it. My VAs call on my behalf and say, this is Justin. How are they not going to know? For me personally, right? Which kind of goes, my VAs all have an American Express Platinum card in my name because you can open as many as you want in your name. I put a limit on it. So if they need to make purchases for me, they can purchase with a card that they have on. And it's their own company. It's under my name. Also, there's a lot of fraud protection around that because if they make a purchase that wasn't approved, guess what I call Amex and say? It wasn't an approved charge. Right? No different than if I give an employee a card and they make an unapproved charge. It's still the same thing. It's just because they're a company employee. And to also answer your question, Nicole, to kind of recycle back to that, tape a GoPro to yourself. It sounds weird. Just do it. Yeah, you just do it. Just do it. Tape a GoPro to yourself, and that's the only way I figured out what I didn't know. Right? I figured out that a lot of times, this sounds really crazy. People with young kids, what we figured out was they were spending 20, 30 minutes in the morning getting their kids ready for school. So we got people literally now that hire nannies for an hour in the morning, and all the nanny does is, so it's not like the full-time nanny where it's take care of my kids 8 hours a day. I'm going to work 24 of them and never see my kids still. These are nannies that come in for an hour or two in the morning, get your kids ready, get them off to school. You're still there being present, right? But you're spending $10 an hour, $12 an hour, $15 an hour for someone in the morning that just wants to come over and make an extra $30 a day. What's that? Craigslist. I'm just kidding. The lady in the back will do it for you. I can help you with this. One of the things I always say, I like to look for the elderly for all my stuff. So if I'm at home and I need a home-cooked meal for a week, I have guests coming over, I have a lady in my neighborhood that will do it for me. I just send her the recipe. She loves to do it. She would actually do it for me for free if I want. She just loves company. She's lonely. And so I still pay her, right? But then there's other people that have gotten nannies of just like, older people that are just looking for things to do. They're willing to make, even if they're 65, 70, like they can still do things, right? This nanny isn't there 9 hours a day. They're just there to bathe, bath, get clothes, organize, right? The things all of our grandmothers used to do for us type of situation. So that's what I would do. So this week in Cabo, since Nicole's going to Cabo with us Monday for 7 days, we'll work on finding you one. I'll screen them. I'll find it for you because I love your kids. Yeah. I'll make sure it's a good one. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Huh. Spanish radio station. 3,200 VAs so far. I've never had an issue. The only issue I've ever had is someone accidentally sent their VA a $200,000 payday because they miskeyed the wrong information. I don't know. Are they in here? Anybody ever done that? Ron, did you do that at one time? No, I don't remember. Someone from Cali sent like $200,000 to the VA. Guess what the VA did? They sent all $200,000 US dollars back. Insane. But it instantly made them a millionaire for life. Crazy. Yeah. Yeah, great question. So I got a few more things to cover on your liability side too, and then we'll cover the Slack side. So liability goes, guys, we can be sued for anything. We got to stop being so scared of being sued to do some things, right? I got sued a few weeks ago, or a few months ago actually, for using the word leverage. Someone thought they owned the word leverage. Someone thought they owned the word leverage. So I want Joel to lift up his shirt, lift up his head. We now wear shirts called leverage. So we're a little savage, and we're about to be at an event with them in a few weeks, and we have 30 of us all wearing leverage shirts. So we sue all 30 of us. So to answer your question, liabilities. Yeah, there's some things, there's some risk. Obviously, stay away. The only big liability and risk I see is your banking information and routing information. Credit cards is what I have them all do because there's limits on it, right? If I give you any credit card of mine that's got a limit on it, you can only take me to that limit, right? So some of my VAs have a $200 limit, some have a $1,000 limit. Shereen has a $50,000. But I can rest easy at night knowing the worst I can be taken for is $50,000. And I know that there's some things I can do to claim fraud. Portals. Whenever someone joins our VA system, which I know you did just a few minutes ago, so welcome, we'll walk you through that. We'll combine all of it. We'll walk through it. But Slack, we teach you a combination of a few tools that all integrate together on how to do it. We do have something called Sphere Rocket Monitor that just got rebranded to Virtual Worker, which is a combination of all of them. It was supposed to launch about 4 months ago. We got massively delayed. We had some massive tech issues on it. However, we are bringing in the future a portal that takes Slack, Screenshot Monitor, all the task tools, and all Asana checklists into one platform. We are really close. This event took us a lot of time. That's Joel's first job getting back, is getting that off the ground and actually submitted for final review. So I'd say the next 30 to 60 days I'll be completely done. You can get rid of all other systems and be within house. But when you first come on Slack, all those systems will teach you how to use those. Yep, your question. Yeah. So home life. So I do personal. I do house, and then I do day-to-day operations, which would go into the dental. A lot of people do kids, like watching their kids. Our VAs even babysit people's kids while they're gone, virtually. They have cameras in their house that watch their kids. Now, I'm not talking 2-year-olds, okay? I'm talking whatever age you feel is appropriate to leave your kids at home, but still want to watch them. So my VAs watch my Ring cameras. It was funny. I was at a conference a few weeks ago at one of John's events, and there was this guy sitting next to me. And if you're in here, I'm sorry, but he literally spent the entire conference watching his Ring camera. Because he had cars that would pass in front of his house. He was on a busy street, and every time Swipe open, look at the Ring camera. Swipe open, look at. I'm like, dude, you did this 4,000 times today. Did you listen to anything on stage? So, well, I sold him a VA. Whoever watches this Ring camera. I was like, the VA will call you if your house is on fire. Like, my VAs know who to call if my house is on fire, right? Type of thing. So, but like, those are the types of things. So, personal home, like my home care, and then obviously the personal from like doctors, things like that. Now here's the cool thing. Some of you guys are like, is a VA's full-time job actually 40 hours, like scheduling doctor's appointments and things like that? No, but guess what? They specialize in that. I know that's knocked down. I don't have to worry about it. And then into the future, guess what? They can do other tasks for me as I think of random things. Hey, plan this vacation. Hey, send this gift. I just have an army sitting around me ready to do anything at any time, which is the best thing. And once you start figuring out recurring income and how to do all these different things, I don't feel bad that I'm paying them 40 hours a week to work 10. Because they're so good at what they do for 10. But I know that if tomorrow I said, hey, we have to put on an event like this in 48 hours, I know I'd have 110 people ready to go for me. So, yeah, good question. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. To leverage out. Yeah. Yeah, societal norms, pressures, right, wrong, indifferent, have obviously led to more women in the household doing things, stay at home, things like that. And a lot of you take that burden on, and I think the coolest thing is if you can get that leveraged off for even cheaper. Like a lot of us go through our heads, say, I don't want to hire a cleaner at $250 a week. Correct. So there's a lot of mindset around that, and here's the cool thing, is when you start to hire leverage, you'll start to change your mindset. I don't know if Ryan talked about it yesterday, but there's this cool thing that happens once you start to get to like 3, 4, 5, 6 team members that doesn't happen when you have 1 or 2. When you have people on your payroll and you start getting to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you start to feel there's this exponential growth of where you see impact. Right? If you just have 1 or 2, they're always busy. You always have full task loads for them. You always risk that they quit and you get your job back. That's a problem, right? Once you start getting to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, then you start being able to find really unique solutions. Like, I have a VA, and Kendra helped me with this. It's like, hey, call around and like find the cheapest cleaners. But that also still do a good job. The VA can spend 3 days doing that, right? I can maybe spend 10 minutes, and I pick the highest price one, and I don't still like the work. Right? So a lot of leverage in that sense. So, yeah, you get to enjoy your children more, right? Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah, Clint. Yeah, so we recruit first based on talent. We don't care where they are in the Philippines. We do heavy recruitment in Manila, which is the biggest metroplex. About 75 to 80% of all VAs do live in Manila. So the other thing, too, another tip and advice for those getting VAs in the future, when you tap into a bigger network, your VAs can actually start to connect with other VAs. And so please, if you're using our product right now, make sure your VAs attend the Cultural Huddle Call. Cultural Huddle Call. And if you just joined and don't know what that is, just make a note of it. Cultural Huddle Call. Every Tuesday. I know Nicole, since her VA is there, send them there. They get to know each other. Like, it's funny how the other day we had a VA meet another VA on the call, and they literally lived 2 houses down from each other. They had no clue. No clue. So now, what? Hey, I don't know the time. Don't quote me on it. It's in the calendar. 11 a.m. Central. Yeah, so, great question. 10 Central. If you know and you're in our program, just let us know. Yep. Yeah, super easy. Super easy. Strap a GoPro to yourself. There's a mount. I even have the Amazon links I can send out, and I'll put in the Facebook group. It's just a strap. You put a GoPro right here. You just got to get over yourself and do it. And be willing to walk through an airport with a GoPro on. Like, it's going to feel awkward. Yeah, so I record it. For me personally, I send it to my VAs, and they document every minute of my day in a spreadsheet, and then they break it down into graphs. So it will literally say, hey, you spent 19 minutes going to the bathroom today. Like, I know everything. Yeah. I literally am like this. I walk in the bathroom. I just hold it here. Just like, I'm not joking. So I know everything. I know the exact minutes for those 2 weeks. I will probably do this exercise every 6 months because my life changes every 6 months. Something new. So, yeah. Good question. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, so we have obviously 10 coaches that do a coaching call. The VAs are welcome to go on those. So, like, if you send your VA to Kyle Whistle's video marketing call, obviously all the VAs on that call are going to be in that same department, right? We do put a little bit of pressure on you to reach out to us if you need us to connect them with other VAs, because I don't want to take a VA and start telling them to go and talk to all these random people's VAs. And you're like, Justin, my VA just now socializes all day. But if you're like, hey, I need like Elizabeth Riley the other day said, Justin, I need the top 3 people that are using VAs for EXP recruitment. I said, cool, here's my list. Chauncey, Andrew Franklin, all these people. Like, they all hired VAs directly for just these positions. And so I'll be like, yeah, cool, let me call them. We're all givers in our network. If someone tells me, no, my VA can't help another person's VA, I'm not going to say that's bad because it's your VA, but that's not our culture, right? Most people are very willing to share. And if there's too much demand for it, I'll just bring it on. If you go, hey, Justin, I'd love to do a webinar where all the video editor VAs come on, they can meet each other, we can do that. So you have another question? Questions? Yeah. Easy. How do you make your VAs be a part of your team? Daily huddles, but even full daily huddles. This right here on the screen, if you guys haven't figured out, it's actually a recording of all of our VAs sitting there. Yeah, you figured that out. Now there are VAs actually watching on the Zoom. They are zooming in, but this is a recording. This is a subconscious message to you that our VAs are in there. Just a little trick to show you. But with that being said, my office is rigged with these. So in my offices, all my desktops, like our VAs should be sitting on Zoom 8 hours a day. It's a mandation from my team. Our VAs are on Zoom 8 hours a day, camera ready, mic ready at any given time. So that way when I walk in my office, and if I want to talk to my VAs, what do? I just unmute it, pop up on the screen, they're sitting right there. And when I naturally do that, like Deanna does a really good job at this, Stop. She does a really good job. Even in her first few weeks with her VAs, she puts them in a Zoom room, she leaves her mic on all day. They can hear anything going on in the office. So that way they start to pick up some of these messages behind the scenes, right? But they sit there all day because if I'm out on the road and doing a showing, which I showed my first property the other day in like 3 years, and it gave me terrible anxiety. Like, it's crazy. But I popped open my thing, and I was like, hey, can we get an offer starting to get written up? Right? And I wasn't writing the offer. I'd have Shannon Maxwell write the offer because I don't know how to write an offer in my own state. Don't tell my managing broker that. But I was like, there you go, Shannon. But my VA said that. I jumped in the Zoom room, and I could see them, right? So they feel personal. Because most VAs are used to working for like Fiverr or Upwork or something like that, where people literally treat them like a robot. Hey, send me this graphic, this file, by tomorrow at 9 p.m. or you're fired. It doesn't feel very personal. Put them in a Zoom room all day, they're going to feel awesome. And that's the other thing, too, is when you start getting 3, 4, 5, 6 VAs, they start managing their culture a lot, and you don't have to worry about all the small things. Yeah, Jackie? Yeah. 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 Sure. So you have another VA with another company, you signed up with our program. The best thing you can do is keep that other VA if they're doing good things for you, but you can bring them into our ecosystem. We can plug them all into our trainings, our culture calls, all that. We just can't obviously eliminate the payroll obligations you have to them, right? So whatever you're... keep them, but you can bring them into our culture because there's no contract on the backside of our culture. You can bring them into all of our coaching calls. You can bring them into our cultural huddles, all those things. That's not a problem. Yeah, so they can feel part of that. Cool, I got time for 2 more questions. So just to give you guys a heads up, is this valuable? Cool. It's usually valuable. So what we're going to do is I don't want to get too far ahead on time. If you have not gotten VAs, you don't have an appointment, and you don't even know what's going on, like this lady, good. then what we'll do is I'll meet you in like 15, 20 minutes. We're going to have a great speaker next. Kevin, who's going to come on after me, he is an absolute monster when it comes to auxiliary businesses. It's how to squeeze more money out of a deal. So he's got a real estate team, and then he's got the auxiliary businesses where it's like, hey, I'm not doing any more work theoretically, but I'm making more money off of these other things, right? DIY lender is kind of going to do something similar. Obviously getting money out of the title side. That's something that Kevin's really, really good at, is just getting more piece of the pie and making this big old circle. Does that make sense to everybody? You can get this piece and this piece and this piece and not do any more work. That's what Kevin specializes in. So with that being said, I'll be back in the hallway for 30 minutes. Like I said, I only really want 10 people. Max, if we need to do another session later, I'm going to send you back in here. We can do another one later. But I'm going to get off stage now. And what's going to happen later is from 12 to 2-ish or a little bit after that, if we're running behind, I will do another one of these sessions we're just random Q&A between the time that we're taking a break for lunch and when Accelerator Private Mastermind starts from like 2 to 5, 2 to 6. I'll do another one of these, even if there's 5 people left in the room. I'll answer all your questions, whatever you want to deep dive. So with that being said, I'm going to give it just a second. I'm going to bring Kevin up on stage. Just as a reminder, we don't really have snacks or lunch today because we didn't know the numbers. So if you guys need to leave, go downstairs, just let us know. We can help you out with that. So with that being said, I'm going to bring up Kevin. Yep.